My name is Olivia. I work full-time while living with my family. I'm living with my parents in order to save up money for my dream. I'm used to living with them, so we get along well, and we've no problems living together. The only problem is my younger sister. My sister Alyssa has been a wild card since we were young, and even when we lived together, she always played by her own rules. To be honest, she caused many problems for our parents and I. She seemed to think that everything at home is hers. She'll eat things I've written my name on, or she'll go into my room and wear my clothes or use my makeup without asking. Just recently, she started studying at a college near our family's house and decided to live on her own. In general, our parents do all they can to support us in whatever we want to do. After my sister agreed to a list of conditions that they had given her, they had let her live alone. I'm sure they wanted her to learn a bit about the real world and how difficult it can be to live on your own, but Alyssa betrayed our trust without even batting an eyelash. Alyssa, where are you? I'm at your apartment, but your landlady said you moved away? Why would you go to my home like that? Mom asked me to. Grandma sent us a crate of apples every year, right? That's right. So Mom told me to bring you some. I went to your apartment, but it was completely empty. When I checked with your landlady, she said you left 2 months ago. What are you doing? Mom and Dad didn't know about this, right? It's my life, so I can do what I want. You say that after you can afford to live off your own money. Dad gives you money every month for your rent and living expenses. Thinking about it, Dad sent you money these last 2 months as well, right? Yeah, and what are you doing with the money Dad sends you? I obviously used it to move somewhere new. We can't trust you when you do things like this. We told you to tell us about your spendings every month, but you stopped. We also said you should visit home. Hey, stop treating me like a child and let me do what I want. I'm an adult. So I can take responsibility for my actions. I can drop out of college if I want. Huh? Wait a second. You can drop out of college if you want? What are you saying? Don't tell me you actually dropped out. I did. And? You dropped out? When? 2 months ago. What are you thinking? How could you do that without saying anything to us? Thinking about it 2 months ago. Dad sent you money for tuition, right? Yeah, that became my spending money. Moving and starting a new life costs money. I bought new furniture and appliances. What are you doing with Dad's money? Well, it was money meant for my tuition, so it's basically my money, right? I can choose how I use my money, right? Dad gave you that money to use on your tuition because you agreed to certain conditions. What do you plan on doing now that you dropped out? Eloping with my darling. Eloping? Are you kidding me? I'm not. Actually, I've been dating a guy 8 years older than me. He actually said we should live together. Him and I eloped and got a place where no one else knows who we are. You've got to be kidding me. I plan on keeping this a secret for a bit longer. I wanted to get money from Dad for as long as I could. I didn't think you'd visit my home. You said you had something you wanted to study, so we sent you money for your tuition. You said you wanted to learn about the real world, so we let you live on your own. Where is this coming from? Mom and Dad will be furious, you know. That doesn't scare me, so it's fine. None of you know where I am. That's not the problem. Sis, it's time for you to find somebody to marry. A woman who isn't loved by a man is useless. Bye-bye. Wait, Alyssa! At least explain what's going on to Mom and Dad. Alyssa? I don't care what happens to you from now on. From then on, I was never able to get in touch with Alyssa again. My parents stopped sending Alyssa money and they began to blame themselves for raising her wrong. It was hard to see my parents that sad. After a long time passed, my sister suddenly contacted me. It was 10 years after she disappeared. 10 years later, Olivia, it's been a while. It's Alyssa. You haven't changed your number, right? What a relief. Seems Mom and Dad changed their phone numbers. I can't get in touch with them at all. Alyssa? What do you want now? Aren't you being too cold? Aren't you happy to get a text from your younger sister for the first time in 10 years? You dropped out of university, moved away without telling us, and then didn't get in touch with us again. How could you think I'd be happy to talk to you after all this time? What? I haven't caused any problems, have I? Dad is the one who sent me that money. Nice of you to say. I know what you did. I know that you'd visit home when we weren't there in order to take our stuff. You took a brand name purse of mine, didn't you? What? You found out? This isn't a joke. Money has disappeared from our home too. We've considered reporting you to the police. That would have been an issue. But nothing in our house was out of order. The lock hadn't been broken and all the windows were intact. Obviously, someone who has a key entered the house. It had to be you. You guys changed the lock shortly after, so I haven't been able to go home for a while. So why are you messaging me now? Actually, I'm getting married. Married, huh? You didn't get married to that older man when you eloped with him? I planned on it, but it didn't work out. Didn't work out? He was married. He said he had broken up with her, and so I should live together with him, but he never ended up divorcing her, and I was just his new lover his whole time. Huh? In order to file for marriage, you have to file for divorce with the person you've married to, right? You would make excuses about timing or do other things, and didn't file for divorce for over a year. He was being vague and leading me on, so I broke up with him. You were dating someone who was already married? I've been living on my own since. I've been working part-time and getting together with men who seemed like they have money. I finally found someone I'd considered marrying. Since I'm getting married, I thought I'd bring him around to meet my family. Bring him home so we can meet him. Are you serious? I feel bad for dropping out without telling anyone, but it was 10 years ago, right? I'm sure Mom and Dad will be happy for me if I get married, so keep the first Saturday of next month open. Please tell Mom and Dad too. You eloped and cut off contact with us, and now you come back with this news? Shouldn't you apologize first? That's all the past now. More importantly, I have a favor to ask of you. Mom and Dad. A favor? My fiancé works for a huge trade firm. He graduated from a high-ranked university, comes from a good family, and is rich. In order to be on his level, I pretended to say I graduated from a famous private university. You lied to your fiancé. A little lie like that should be fine. I'll handle the rest when I get married, so please help me out. Tell him I graduated from a famous private university, left home and continued my studies, and have been living on my own since. You just went to any college that accepts you and quit halfway. I'm telling you, don't say that. He thinks I'm different. Of course, don't bring up what happened with my boyfriend 10 years ago either. If he finds out I had an affair with a man who had a wife and kids, he'd definitely break off our engagement. The man you eloped with even had kids. Anyway, just go along with my story. Don't say anything silly, okay? Come on. I'll come and visit at the beginning of next month, so tell Mom and Dad. From now on, my life will finally be stable. I'll leave it to you. Alyssa was selfish as always, and ended the conversation as soon as she had made her announcement. She didn't reply to any of my messages after. 2 weeks passed, and it was the day Alyssa planned on visiting with her fiancé. I told my parents what Alyssa said, but since she wouldn't pick up our calls, we didn't know any details. 2 weeks later, Sis, we're heading over now. I didn't tell you, but when we get married, we're moving in with you. Huh? You'll be moving here? His job transferred him to an office out there. I actually planned on hiding the fact that I was getting married. There's a chance he might find out I lied after all. I originally thought we'd live without you. But when he was transferred, I thought this could be my chance. Your chance? Well, my home is out there. The price of land is going up. I have a home out there, so we don't need to buy one. You haven't moved, right? Getting married and renting a house costs money. But if I move back in, living costs will be free. I can save on money, and it won't be a problem to renovate our house. The place you keep calling your home, do you mean our parents' house? Of course, that's my home after all. Mom and Dad must have been lonely without me, so my fiance and I will be moving in. And you'll be a bother, so you should go away. We sold that house, though. Huh? Sold it? You kept saying you'd come here. I thought it was so silly. I realized you didn't know. Wait, what are you talking about? Mom, Dad, and I sold the house and moved somewhere new. I couldn't live with them forever. But you'd been with them for so long. Well, I got married. My family and I are all together in Europe now. Europe? So when you said you were coming over here, for a second I thought you meant Europe. Wait, why are you in Europe? You don't remember my dream? Of course I don't remember your dreams. That's true, you never were interested in anyone else but yourself. My dream was to start my own company and sell goods from Europe. Start your own company? I lived at home in order to save up money for that. I have a shop online. It's super convenient. Through my online store, I can sell goods and fashion from where I live, and I ship it all over the world. I met a French man through my work, and 5 years ago we got married. We have kids now. What? I didn't know anything about this. Well, yeah, you never replied to our messages. So Mom and Dad are also in Europe? They are in Canada. They sold the house and bought a new apartment. They're living well. An apartment? Where? I can't tell you. Why? They're my mom and dad too. I told them that you were getting married, but they were still mad about what happened 10 years ago. They said they don't want to meet you ever again. No way. My fiance thinks he'll be meeting them now. I can't tell him he can't meet them now. How will I be able to explain this? If you want to restore your relationship with Mom and Dad, you should reflect on what you did 10 years ago and apologize. The most important thing about relationships is trust. 10 years ago, you shattered that trust. You did this to yourself, so you should reflect on that. Even if you're heading to where our home used to be, Mom and Dad aren't there. No way. If you sold the house, where will we live now? I told my fiance I definitely wanted to move there and that Mom and Dad said we can. He said it would be too rude to move in for free, so he gave me $20,000. And in order to pay for the wedding, he sold his house. Everything was all planned out. You lied about all that. You said that even though Mom and Dad never agreed? Well, it's mine after all, the house. Let me just make this clear. The world doesn't revolve around you. The things you took from our home were ours. We're the people who bought them. We didn't make a big deal about it at the time because you were a family member, but that was theft, you know. I can file a damage report or even seek compensation. Huh? You can't do that now, right? I wonder. It's all in the past. 10 years have passed. Even if 10 years have passed, I can hire a lawyer and do something about it. It's my right to sue you if I want. Sue me? To be honest, my business is successful and I'm not worried about money. But even though I don't need money, I don't mind filing a lawsuit against you that you will finally regret what you've done. Wait, fine, I'll apologize. I'm sorry for taking your things without asking. 10 years ago, I sold those things immediately after and I don't have them anymore. I used all the money I got, so I don't have any left. But I apologize. I'm sorry, if you sue me, my engagement will be broken off for sure. I'll apologize to Mom and Dad too, so give me their numbers. Sure, but let me ask them if they're okay with me giving you their numbers first. I want to call them immediately. I'm in the car with my fiance, driving to our old home. You should have planned this a little better. If Mom and Dad say it's okay, I'll let you have their number. If they don't, I won't. Huh? What will I do if I don't get their number? I'm busy, and because of the time difference, it's getting late here. I'll tell you their phone number if they agree, but since I'm busy, I won't be able to reply to your message, okay? No way. I'm your little sister. Olivia! I regret what I did, so please forgive me. Please. Later. In the end, my parents didn't want me to tell Alyssa their phone number. All Alyssa's lies were revealed, even the story about her affair 10 years ago, so her engagement was broken off. She had to take out loans to pay back the $20,000 her fiancé had given her, as well as the wedding cancellation fee. In order to get married, she had cut off all the men she'd been trying to rely on for money throughout the years, so now she had no one to turn to. She's now working in order to pay off her debts. By the way, I found out all of this from the text she sent me asking me for help. Of course, I never replied to her.